White supremacy can be very vague. White supremacy can be very definite. It's very difficult to pin down exactly where somebody falls on that spectrum.
Dude.
I'm just interested in promoting anti-racist policies and anti-racist beliefs.
White supremacy could basically be anything I want it to be. Reality could be whatever I want it to be. It could be very vague. Right, dude. So glad this debate style is banished to Wick panels. Yes, true.
It's a little bit like making jokes about being a pedophile. Now, if you're an edgy boy, and I am, and you are.
No, bro! There's no way he just said that. There's no way, dude. Bro, no! Vaush, no, you're sealing your own fate. Don't do it. Don't do it, Vaush.
People could still assume that I'm a white supremacist because we can never confirm what people truly believe. And also, regardless of what I say, it can be discredited as lies because white supremacists lie. What a convenient setup.
It's funny. It's funny that you're retreating. Do you think the white race is superior to all other races?
100%. I'm sorry, I said I wouldn't give you answers. I'm sorry.
Also, my chat has been doing a bingo on this convo the entire time, and they would like you to say trans rights.
Recognize your shortcomings. Otherwise, you end up doing a Vaush debating Count Dankula on whether or not he's a white nationalist, and then losing so badly to the point where at the end, Count Dankula does a Roman salute and says the 14 words, and there's nothing you can do about it. That was an absolute classic. Bro, am I going to watch it right now because there's nothing else going on? Is that what I'm going to do? Are you serious? Are you serious? Are you fucking serious right now, dude? Count Dankula Vaush. Why did I agree to this? This takes me back.
Are you going to deliberately try to hit bingo points? No, I'm actually going to do everything in my power to make this a persuasive and effective conversation. I think it's time. Why did I debate? Why did I agree to this format?
Well, I have to ask them first. Are you all comfortable if we do super chats at the very end, if they're just asking questions?
Just asking questions. Oof, the dog whistles are out in play already.
Okay, so if you guys are okay with that, just let me know. Vosh, I'm going to go live on my channel right now.
Gotcha, we're live on my channel. Don't say the N-word. Actually, it's YouTube. You can if you want, but probably don't.
I'm more worried about you saying that, buddy. Okay. All right, we're streaming on my channel. Mango, just tell me if that's up.
1 second. I gotta go to your YouTube channel. My tabs are a mess today.
Okay. All right.
Oh, and both of you should already have it turned on, but there's something called noise suppression, where basically like it filters out your background noise and it makes the audio a lot more crisp. So if you don't have that on already, just turn it on.
I should.
Okay.
Okay. I think we're pretty much good.
Yeah, and 30, you are not live yet, so you want to.
No, I'm live now. I see it.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. All right. So, hey everybody, Faraday here. So this is the beginning of a series.
Oh
of
my
debate.
god! Faraday Speaks. Do you remember Faraday Speaks? God, there was some story to where he came from, and then he was like a kind of normal lib type guy for a while, and then he like became this like deranged, like weirdo, abstract kind of like righty guy or something. Do you remember?
That we're going to do on the channel. And the first one is a little bit of an interesting one, to say the least. So Vaush called out Dankula on Twitter and called him a white supremacist. And Dankula said that that was ridiculous. And then they wanted to have a debate. All the super chats that you guys give in this are going to go to a charity. We haven't decided on which one exactly yet, but it'll be a COVID-19 charity. So yeah, hopefully we'll take some super chat questions at the very end. But
that's great. I just want to say that yes, I did in fact call Count Dankula a white supremacist on Twitter.
Hey, don't muddy the waters.
No, you've got the names mixed up.
Oh, look at this. Okay, let's boomer it out,
bro. Yeah, this is 21st of May 2020, bro. Oh my god, dude, this was this long ago. I'd only been shooting for 6 months at this point. I remember hearing about this and I was like, oof, damn. Vaush has really fucked this one up, hasn't he? This was like his worst debate that he ever... I think this is probably his worst debate. There's the good contenders in there. Like the Aqua thing and stuff like that. The reason this was so bad was just because he was completely unable to argue his point. And then at the end, well, we'll see what happens. We'll skip through it. We're probably not going to watch every minute of this.
for a second. I was looking at him laugh. I was like, what is he laughing?
No, it's okay. I mean, I've been called a white supremacist before, so I mean, it wouldn't be the first time. I'm used to the scrutiny. Known SJW Count Dankula, impugning me for my racial bias.
Okay. So here's what we're going to do. Here's how I wanted to start it out is white supremacist is like a term that just gets thrown around like crazy. And so I figured that what we could start is we could define our terms and then, and that's how we'll start out. But first of all, let's do introductions. Danko, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, I'm Count Dankula, and I would like to say hello to my fellow white Christian brothers in the chat. That's pretty much it, really.
Okay, Vaush, give us a quick introduction.
I'm sure my audience knows that I only recognize their existence if they're not straight, so I don't think it even needs to be said. Yeah, I'm Vaush. I do debates, I guess, even when I don't want to.
We're off to a great start. Okay, I'm only going to chime in.
Dude, the thing is Dankula is just kind of like effortlessly funny. He's just like a regular Scottish lad who's just funny and shit. Do you know what I mean? Whereas Vaush is so autistic, he's got to try so hard to be affable and entertaining and funny in this kind of situation. Like, there's times he said funny stuff that I think has been, like, you know, very entertaining. But in these sort of situations, he's just kind of got this natural unlikableness about him that he really has to work hard to overcome. You know, amongst the broader audience. Obviously, his audience fucking loved him at the time. But, you know, it's, yeah, tough situation.
To ask clarifying questions or to interrupt you guys if it gets way too heated and you're screaming over each other. Yeah, let's go ahead and before we do opening statements, I figured I'd give you all each the floor to talk before we begin. But Vaush, what do you mean? What is a white supremacist in your definition that you're using here?
Is this just me clarifying the term, or is this my general opening statement?
Just to clarify the term first.
Sure, yeah. So generally speaking, when I say white supremacist, I'm referring to a person who believes that there is A, some sort of fundamental distinction between the races, and B, one who believes that...
Shut the fuck up, you love this shit. Stop rewriting history. I'm not rewriting history. There's some... I've said clearly what I thought was funny about Vaush and stuff in the past. But I thought at the time, and as I said now, I remember watching this or hearing about this and being like, oh god, Vaush really fucked this up, didn't he? Because of how badly it went, you know? And at the time, I mean, I didn't even think that Count Dankula was like a white supremacist, right? It's just such an absurd and claim to make. And then to debate someone on that as well, to debate someone on it too, like how do you possibly go about meaningfully proving that someone is a white supremacist if they say that they're not, unless you've got some sort of text that they've written or some sort of work that they've done where they have made explicit commentary that makes it clear they're a white supremacist. It's like pretty much impossible to demonstrate that. It's complete, yeah, it is classic Vaush hubris.
That either the white race is superior in some empirical sense, or B, that we need to engage in policies or other social actions to prioritize that group of people. There are a lot of, for example, white supremacists who will say like, well, I'm not a white supremacist because I recognize that Asians and Ashkenazi Jews have a higher IQ, but fundamentally they still advocate for white people. They're supremacist with regards to their social policy.
And it's fucking, like, right. Has Count Dankula ever said anything like that? Like, bro, he said all this shit about it. Was Count Dankula ever said anything close to that?
So yeah, my goal ultimately, I'm an egalitarian. I love black people and people of all races, and I'm just trying to make sure we all get through life.
Okay. Dankula, are you fine with that definition of white supremacist before we continue?
For me, like, I would go with the actual definition, which is a person that feels that white people are superior to all other races, and all other races are, you know, are or should be subservient to whites, and things should be done only for the benefit of whites. You know, like white ruled countries, apartheid, that type of stuff. You know, the actual definition.
Vaush, do you have any issues with that definition?
Yeah, that's not the actual definition at all. That's a highly unacademic definition of white supremacy.
Oh my god, dude. Bro. This is classic, like, normal dude. Like, any normie would be like, yeah, that sounds about right, yeah. And he's like, that is a completely unacademic definition. Right. Well, the thing is, in fact, Vaush is talking about race realism, is he not? Like, the way he's talked about it, it sounds like he means race realism. I think functionally it doesn't really make that much difference. I mean, you know, Dankula's definition of it is fine. But, you know, like a white supremacist would not... Like, I'm pretty sure white supremacists have got quite negative views. Like, it's much more simplistic. They got a much more simplistic view of it. This race realism is like a more advanced form of racism that people... It's like professional racism.
that does is it sets the bar so high that there's no way to ever prove that anyone is a white supremacist because they would have to buy into a fuck ton of positions before they would actually fit that qualification. White supremacy can be as vague and indifferent as like...
It's nice when it's easy to put people in it, though.
White supremacy can be as vague and indistinct as like a Karen in some suburban neighborhood, like calling the police because she thinks there are some suspicious dudes outside because they're like black and they're just chilling. White supremacy can be very vague. White supremacy can be very definite. It's very difficult to pin down exactly where somebody falls in that spectrum. I'm just interested in promoting anti-racist policies and anti-racist beliefs.
White supremacy could basically be anything I want it to be. Reality could be whatever I want it to be. It could be very vague. It could be a woman calling the police on some blacks. Okay.
I'm sure Count Dankula, as a libertarian and a lover of freedom, will agree with me on virtually every prescriptive statement that I have with regards to race, and we shouldn't really have much to argue about.
But I thought I was a white supremacist. I thought that was the point of this. And also, I do enjoy that your definition is very, very vague. That's awfully convenient. But I mean, I thought I was a white supremacist. That was what you said. We're here to debate that. So it's a case of, do you feel I am a white supremacist?
Oh yeah, that's definitely the impression of you that I get. I was making fun of your nominal views, but yeah, like we'll find out what you actually believe, right? Or actually, we'll find out what you're willing to commit to believing, because we can never actually know what a person believes.
I feel like this stuff here, this was like planting the seeds that ended up destroying all this fucking debate culture shit that people now fucking mock and think is ridiculous, on the whole, right? All these little words that he's using. I was actually saying this about your nominal views. Debate culture was never going to withstand the normie scrutiny that people like Count Dankula and his audience are, supplying. Like, bro, people don't fucking care about this shit. You got a normal dude that is just like, yeah, white supremacy is when white people think they're superior to the detriment of other races. And he's like, I'm mocking your normal statement. That is not an academic definition.
Okay,
so you could be talking shit when you say you love black people and love other races as well, then?
Yeah, of course. It's impossible to deductively prove whether or not a person actually believes something. It's not possible.
So the thing that we're going into this debate with is that white supremacy is...
Vaush, I think I'm gonna find him on the offenders registry, and hearing his voice makes me discount anything he says.
Thank you for the super chats. So why are you arguing? Because it's Vaushistic hubris, right? It's, I could debate anyone on anything at any time and win. That is what is happening here. And I think he's, doing his best to use his sophistry and rhetoric to try and, turn it in his favor. But the reality is that he can't, because he's facing, an impossible battle. Even if Count Dankula, and this is why it's just so funny what happens at the end. Even if Count Dankula was a white supremacist, he's not said enough to really back that point up. That means you're just floundering, poking at things which could be jokes to try and make this case. So I think there's actually an intentionality behind what Vaush is doing here, where he wants to make it, he wants to make it as broad as possible so that he can include as much of Dankula's behavior within his idea, or within his argument, so that he can point to these things and say, well, look, here's all the stuff that proves you're a white supremacist. When it's not really reasonable to do that when you're dealing with someone who, does comedy, does bits, and does jokes and stuff like that.
It's a very vague term that can mean a wide range of things. And even if I confirm that I don't believe in any of those vague things, you never know what I truly believe, so I can still be classed as a white supremacist. Fantastic.
Well, if the debate plays out in such a way that none of the accusations I make are substantiated, and the only thing I can say is, well, we don't actually know, then I'd say you probably won that debate, wouldn't you? See, that's how it works. If we go by your logic, then we can never make any arguments about anything that has to be proven with inductive logic. We would have no way of knowing what anyone believes.
I was just repeating what you said.
Yeah, cool. Well, hey, listen, if I believe it or not, I don't like the fact that there are white supremacists in the world. I doubt you do either. So if you're not one, that's great. It means one less person that I have to worry about on YouTube.com, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
So let's go ahead. Vaush, since you're putting up the accusation, I'm going to let you go first with the opening statement. Try to keep it somewhat short, and then we'll let Dankula go, and then the rest of the debate, it'll just be open discussion.
Sure. Okay. So I'm actually going to be reframing the context of the discussion a little bit for that inductive-deductive line that I just laid out, because it is literally impossible to deductively prove what another person believes. This isn't usually the type of debate that I have. What does a person believe? It's a very difficult conversation to have. So instead, what I think would be more interesting is if I proceed under the assumption of good faith, that Count Dankula is an egalitarian, and then I build up all the reasons why I have been led to believe that he is not, and I can see how he feels about the accusations that I would levy there. So my argument would not be, Count Dankula, you are a white supremacist, I will prove it, which is not possible, but instead, Count Dankula, I've been given the impression you're a white supremacist. Let's go over the reasons why. I'm interested in hearing your response.
That's not what you said, though. You said that I, in fact, am. You've said it several times.
Yeah, I have to inductively reason it, but I think for the purposes of the discussion, it's better to walk through my thought process as I come to discover your content and the way that you talk and engage with stuff, rather than presumptively making the accusation and then, like, post-talk going over all the assumed evidence. I think it's a better way to go over inductive reasoning. But yeah, I think that, if I may, this will be the end to my opening statement. My guess is what's going to happen here is we're going to engage in good faith conversation for about 10 to 15 minutes, and then after that is going to devolve into increasingly irreverent back and forth bickering. You're going to say the term, "It's just a joke. Do you know what a joke is, mate?" Or "I'm a fucking comedian," about 80 times over the course of this discussion. We're not going to have any...
Dude, he's such a sneaky fucker, isn't he? He's trying to smuggle in here this, like, well, I can predict what's going to happen. But what he's actually doing is he is laying out what a reasonable defense is of the reason that Count Dankula has said things, and acting like he's predicting that's what he's going to do as if it's some trick, when it's actually a reasonable argument of, well, that was a joke. Obviously, I don't think that. That was a bit that I was doing for the purposes of video. It's like, yeah, it's poisoning the well. It is literally just poisoning the well against Dankula. Right, dude. So glad this debate style is banished to Wick panels. Yes, true.
Any way of actually reasoning out anyone's positions, and it will end up being a complete waste of time. So we're going to see how that goes.
Are we going head first in and saying that it's just a joke, I'm a comedian, are completely invalid arguments that hold
no, I just want to see how many times you say them. They're totally...
Bro. Oh, no, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I want to... Bro. No, dude. That is so funny. That is exactly what you're doing. You're trying to invalidate the defenses reasonable defenses he's going to make. But then you're acting like you're not doing that. And it's just like, oh, I want to see how many times you're going to say them. What the fuck does that mean? What relevance is that?
But how do I make money off depressed people?
Thank you for the super chats. If I do a comedy stand-up show about minorities and I do 100 jokes that are just jokes about minorities that are offensive, and you question me about that, why does it matter how many times I say that it's just a joke if that's true and that is what it is? Like, it's just, it doesn't make any difference how many times you say it. What matters is how valid or correct that defense is, and whether there is something beyond that that you can point to that demonstrate. Like, for example, if I did that stand-up and I said it's a joke 100 times, and then it turned out I was a card-carrying member of the Nazi Party, right? Then I think at that point you could say, well, forget the jokes, you're a member of the Nazi Party. So I would say on that basis, you're very likely a white supremacist or something, right? It's like, that's what matters. It doesn't matter how many times you tell a joke or how many times you defend yourself. It's what other information can you point to that suggests that it's not just a joke and you're actually making a serious point and smuggling it in as a joke, as a, you know, the BNP.
Totally valid arguments, and I have made them in the past.
Okay, then, so basically you're probably going to ask me a lot about jokes I've made, and the actual arguments that explain these jokes, you're trying to preemptively discredit those arguments.
Yes!
I don't know, if I tell him this, he's probably going to say this when what I'm going to say is a valid argument.
The fact that you are preemptively defending the "it's just a joke" defense.
Dude, Dankula's got him. Dankula's got him here, bro. Bro, he's been outpaced by Count Dankula intellectually. Bro, Dankula's literally seeing through this guy's tactics. So based.
This is very telling to the kind of conversation that we're about to have. But to be honest, I mean, I
just preemptively tried to discredit it.
Oh, no, because that's the thing. I've made that joke.
Bro, dude. Oh, you're just yeah, because you were trying to do that from the first place. Vaush is trying to preemptively discredit it. And then when Count Dankula points out that was what he's doing, he then makes a claim that he's trying to preemptively do it there as well. Vaush, that's you, bro.
Last prediction, you're going to laugh a lot. It's going to be a good way for you to avoid actually arguing with me. But hey, I'm an edgy dude. In fact, I'm in trouble with the left right now. I've made the "it's just a joke" argument many times. However, it's not an all-encompassing argument. You can't say it's just a joke to everything and expect that there's no underlying biases that inform the reason you make those jokes. To me, making jokes about edgy shit like that...
Bro, what is he on about? That's not true at all. How many jokes do you make before you can discern that someone is actually racist? Bro, if making racist jokes at a certain point makes you a racist, I'm fucked. I am a full-blown card-carrying, without question racist then.
That is a little bit like making jokes about being a pedophile. Now, if you're an edgy boy, and I am, and you are...
No, bro! There's no way he just said that. There's no way. There's no way, dude. Bro, no! Vaush, no, you're sealing your own fate. Don't do it. Don't do it, Vaush.
no underlying biases that inform the reason you make those jokes. To me, making jokes about edgy shit like that is a little bit like making jokes about being a pedophile. Now, if you're an edgy boy, and I am, and you are, you know, sometimes making jokes like that can be funny if it's well-timed and well-paced and stuff. I accept that. I'm a big free speech warrior myself. But if you're constantly making jokes about how you like kids, and you hang out with people who unironically say they like kids, and you foster communities full of people who say they like kids, and everyone underneath all your tweets is talking about how, ooh, yeah, they agree, kids are awfully nice to molest, then I would start to wonder, how sincere is the joke defense, and how much of it is just you avoiding responsibility for the stuff you actually believe? So that's more or less the framing I'm going to be approaching this with. But hey, listen, if you're not a white supremacist, you should have a very easy time here.
Vaush. Dude, I'm surprised that this clip wasn't in one of the videos about him, to be honest. That would have been a banger. Every accusation is a confession.
I'm the one who's making the attack. You're the one who's on the defensive.
So I let you guys kind of go back and forth there a little bit, but I want to give Count Dankula the floor now to talk.
Yeah.
No, it's fine. It's just the thing is, like, you know, see whenever you know, are...
Well, the thing is with the kids' jokes, and the reason it's so challenging to, like, make consistently make jokes about this sort of thing without seeming like a pedo, is society has got such a sort of correctly, we don't like pedos, guys, a correctly terrible view on that behavior. And so it's one of those topics that is such a sensitive issue that merely joking about it will at best deeply offend people, and at worst make people think that maybe you've got something that you're trying to cover up in talking about that. Whereas with racism, it's actually not quite the same. Racism has got a negative view, but there's some people that will give allowance for racist jokes. Like, for example, the kinds of people that would say, "Oh, racist jokes are fine, racist jokes are funny, etc., etc." You know, would probably take a more dim view on jokes about pedophilia and shit like that. You know, so the kinds of edgy people that would think that racism jokes are fine and acceptable and funny, and not thinking this way about it, would probably think in completely the opposite way about jokes in regards to pedophilia. Like, you might really get away with one, right? But generally speaking, they're gonna think that way about it. There's not many people in society that would be permissive of people making like edgy pedophilia jokes repeatedly, you know? Whereas there are many people in society that would think differently in regards to racist jokes. But regardless, that's more about a perception. I don't think that necessarily saying jokes about a topic, you know, makes you a pedo. Like, there's actually a real life example that I would point to with James Gunn. So James Gunn was actually cancelled by the right because they found his old edgy tweets about pedophilia topics. And these are the same kinds of people that would have no issue with old racist tweets, but old pedo tweets were used to attack James Gunn as some sort of nonce, which led to him getting fired from Guardians of the Galaxy. You know? Like, if James Gunn had old tweets of him being racist, the right would have defended him. Because the old tweets were about pedophilia, the right attacked him for that, right? So... But do I think James Gunn is a pedophile? No, obviously. It's just that we have a very dim view of that. And I don't think it means you can really discern what someone is on the back of making those jokes in either case.
Literally a full-time comedian that does stand up, you know, like me. Whenever I say something that offends people, like I usually say, it's just a joke, I'm a comedian. So it's a case of, you know, that is kind of the key argument behind my job, because it's literally what I do for a living. And I did see what you tried to do there, where you tried to like preemptively like go, I bet you're going to say it's just a joke. Well, of course, I'm literally a comedian. That wasn't a prediction; it was a certainty. It's what comedians have done since the '60s. Whenever they get challenged for their jokes, right? So I didn't like that you tried to preemptively, you know, sort of shitstir the argument. But the fact is, as well, is like I don't really control who follows me or who likes me either. I mean, I've made pedo jokes and everything in the past as well. I've done that. Doesn't mean I'm a paedophile. I've made racist jokes in the past. Doesn't mean that I'm racist. They're just jokes.
Right. So I want to open up. Oh, sorry.
I've got a way to sort of do this right now. You feel that there's certain beliefs that obviously that white supremacists have, correct?
Well, yeah. I mean, they'd have to.
Well, why not ask me if I believe in those things?
Oh,
That's
sure.
probably the best
Yeah,
way to
the,
do it.
the answer is because I think you guys lie because you're spineless cowards. That's the main reason why. So I can ask.
So-
I mean,
so
wait,
it's a case
really
of-
quickly.
you
Do you know? Wait. You asked me a question. Wait, I'm just answering. Don't worry. We'll get to it. Okay. So, do you know a person called Nick Fuentes by chance?
Yes, I do.
Nick Fuentes is a neo-Nazi. Now, listen, free marketplace of ideas. I'll talk about anything. But dude's a Nazi. If I ask him, are you a Nazi? He doesn't say yes. The reason for that is because, especially on the platform that we're on right now, lying about your views is a way more effective way of disseminating them than just being open about it. If everyone who was a bigot just said,
Well,
like,
the problem with someone like Nick Fuentes is, you know, you could point to other beliefs or other things that he said and use quotes with which to back up whatever it is that you're trying to point out about his beliefs, you know? Whereas I don't think that's the case with Count Dankula. I think that you've got his jokes, but his actual statements about politics are just like they're fairly standard libertarian, anti-government, pro-freedom, you know, type shtick. Do you know what I mean? It's like he's not got this raft of comments that he's made where you can point to that and go, well, you made this, and that doesn't seem to be in the context of a joke. It's not in a video or a stand-up or something. It's at like a political conference or something like that. So yeah, I don't know. Also, I don't even know if it's right to, like, you know, there's obviously precise terms that you can use to describe these people. And I think there is a term you could use for Nick Fuentes, where even if he denied it, you could back it up with things that he said. And I just don't think that's the case with Count Dankula. You know, I don't follow, this is obviously years ago at this point. I don't really follow everything he says that closely. But when has he ever said anything of a serious note that would indicate that he's like a white supremacist? It's just, where's he ever said anything like that, bro? He's never, I don't think he ever has.
yeah, I'm a racist, welcome. We're going to talk about racism, then there probably wouldn't be that many racists in the world. But things like dog whistling are a very effective way of bringing people over. I would say that you're particularly bad at it. I would say the only people who can look at your content and not think there's an underlying bias are people who are willfully delusional or people who are biased themselves. But that's what we're here to discuss. I'm interested in that. Huh? Oh, Whoa, AFK. Why has it been doing that lately?
Oh.
Uh-oh, bring me back in. Faraday. Faraday, I'm AFK. No. Did we win the debate? Dude, Discord has legit been like kicking me out of voice channels every like 5 minutes. Every 2 minutes, I'm gonna click my Discord. Yeah, okay, we're back. Yeah. Sorry.
So basically, the setup to this is white supremacy is something that's very vague and it can be applied to very, very many things outside of the most commonly recognised or even the officially recognised definition. And regardless of what I say, people could still assume that I'm a white supremacist because we can never confirm what people truly believe. And also, regardless of what I say, it can be discredited as lies because white supremacists lie. What a convenient setup it is.
It's funny. Well, it's funny that you're retreating to this because this is how you discuss literally all ideas. So wait, really quick.
Bro, how is he? That is exactly what you've said. That is precisely how you've laid it out. Yes, dude. What do you mean retreat? You have put him in a box, and now at every side he can't move, he can't escape because there's nothing he can do. Basically, you're a white supremacist. If you deny it, you're lying. Okay. It's so vague that I can point to a raft of behavior that I would point that you're a white supremacist. And also, you are going to constantly try and get out of it by saying that it's just a joke. So that doesn't work for me either, because that's just a trick that you're using to try and get out of this. So then you're creating the terms of the debate such that he cannot possibly move. There's nothing that he can say or do in order to convince you that he's not. So no matter which way he moves, he is just a white supremacist. So how is he retreating to this? Like, that's what you have set up. He's not retreating anywhere. You've put him in a corner. And he's got nowhere to retreat to. Yeah, dude, this is bad faith. That's more saying something that you don't truly believe. No, I think this is bad faith. I don't think the Vaush truly believes this. I don't think the Vaush truly thinks this is correct. I think that he's agreed to this debate. I think he's recognised that it's actually impossible or difficult to prove this. So he's constructed a mechanism of rhetoric by which he can still claim he's a white supremacist no matter what Count Dankula does. So I don't think he believes what he's saying. I actually do think he is arguing in bad faith because I don't think he believes this. I think he's just saying it because it is a literal tactical strategy with which to win the debate optically. because you know how can you reasonably conclude on thinking about this? This is like a reasonable standard. It's bad. It is bad faith, sophistry, and rhetoric. Yes.
I'm actually curious. Wait. Do you think it's possible? Do you think it's possible that a person could have a belief and lie about it? Do you think that's conceivable?
I do think it's conceivable.
All right, then how do we determine whether or not they have that belief?
You could always ask me.
Wait. I said they lie. So how do we determine whether or not they have that belief?
I guess you're just going to have to trust me, Vaush.
Wait. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about broadly speaking. What do you do if they lie?
But this debate is about me.
Okay, I'm
That's
asking you a
lies.
generalized question that we can apply to the context of this specific discussion. What do you do if a person lies? How do you find out what they actually believe?
I would probably say it reflects in their actions.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
So you're saying you can look at their actions and inductively assume their beliefs from the things they do.
Possibly. Then again, you know, sometimes the action might not actually directly be based on what they believe.
Yeah, I agree with that. That's what we're having a discussion about. Yeah, again, like, my dude, I make edgy jokes all the time. I make racist jokes. I make sexist jokes. I get in a lot of trouble because I'm a pretty full-on leftist over here, you know? And I recognize that it's a joke.
Also, another thing that's happening here, and this I hate this so much, right? He said a few times now about how he's a leftist who makes edgy jokes. There is a Trojan horse type thing that's happening where he is presenting himself as, I'm the opposition, I'm against your guy, but then he wants to tap into the audience and he wants to pull people away from the audience. At the time, the narrative was that it was about pulling people away from the right and saving them from the right wing. I think that was bullshit. It was an economic thing. It was about growing your audience, growing your clout, and increasing your fucking YouTube paycheck. That's actually what this was all about, right? And it was framed as a political struggle in order to give justification so that people would be more likely to support you on the basis that you're doing a political aim rather than just trying to build an audience and trying to build money, etc. So there's something particularly pernicious and deceptive about this too, because he's having this debate, he's making the points he's making, in my opinion, in bad faith, and he's doing it so that he can capitalize on getting into his audience and hopefully drawing some people off that are going to come over to him because, hey, if you're like a lefty and you like edgy jokes, I do that. I do lefty edgy jokes, actually. So, yeah. Guys, I do dark edgy humor too. Come and check me out when you got a moment.
Joke defense is actually legitimate sometimes, because sometimes it's just too funny not to say. But I also recognize sometimes people lie. And one thing that really bothers me is I feel like comedy is getting ruined by people who say they're comedians and that they're just making jokes, but all they're actually doing is using it as a cynical vehicle to push their politics. I love comedy, you know? I love comedy. I've loved stand-up comedians my entire life, you know? I like to think I'm a decently funny guy. So when I watch people like nonstop just act like Nazis, but then they're like, whoa, it's just a hilarious prank, my dude. It's just a joke. What, do you hate comedy? I feel like they're kind of the ones who hate comedy, because what they're doing is they're cheapening the actual value of humor as a means of political communication, and instead they're just
Humor as a means of political communication. Bro, such a cancerous mentality. Absolutely cancerous mentality.
using it like as a way of avoiding responsibility for what they believe. True comedians will engage in political commentary. Huh?
Do you do that?
No, I'm very, very open with everything I believe.
Right. So whenever you make your jokes, how do we not know that that's masking something sinister? Because I've heard some of the stuff that you've said in the past. I just recognise that it's spicy banter. Like I think on a few occasions you've said "Glass Israel" as well.
Oh yeah, I got banned off Twitch for that one.
Yeah, whenever I heard Vaush said that, I was like, it's clearly a joke. He doesn't want to nuke Israel.
Well,
wait,
hang on, I got distracted, bro. Is he owning it?
Right. So whenever you make your jokes, how do we not know that that's masking something sinister? Because I've heard some of the stuff that you've said in the past. I just recognise that it's spicy banter. Like I think on a few occasions you've said "Glass Israel" as well.
Oh yeah, I got banned off Twitch for that one.
Yeah, whenever I heard Vaush said that, I was like, it's clearly a joke. He doesn't want to nuke Israel.
Well, that's the thing though. I can defend it. Yeah, sorry,
bro, dude. My edgy humor, where I'm calling for the mass extermination of a group of people in a given land using nuclear weapons, is okay. Your edgy humor, where you make little jokes about black people being criminals, no. That's bad.
But even when you did that little, well, like that, like, I know that was a joke. I know that you
Well, no, I mean, I got banned off Twitch for saying that, but my underlying position, which is that I think that Israel is a destructive colonial settler country that's like hurting the people of the Palestine, I stand by that position. Obviously, the sentiment was hyperbolic, but even when I made that joke, Glass Israel, the underlying message was conveying a deep hatred for the country. So even though it was a joke, Twitch was right to ban me because it was the sentiment underlying it was sincere. And so as somebody who's made those...
Oh my god. Sometimes you can just say funny shit and it's not got any meaningful political meaning. It doesn't have to. You can just say a funny thing and it's fine. Right. Dude, this is the thing as well. I think there is an element of projection happening here where, you know, Vaush does mask his beliefs with humor, right? Whereas Count Dankula isn't really doing that. He's just saying shit he thinks is funny and spicy banter, as he puts it, you know?
Those comments before, I know just because you're making a joke doesn't mean your hyperbole can't be masking something else. And I can defend my comments on Israel if I want to, but the point is I was hiding an underlying set of beliefs, which I just don't like the state of Israel very much.
I don't really think Twitch was right to ban you for that, if I'm being honest.
For what it's worth, I don't think it was right for you to be hit with that 800-pound fine. I don't think that was legitimate use of state power for that Nazi post shit. I don't think that was right either.
Oh my god. Oh, dude. Bro, he's trying to like get in there, isn't he? He's trying to, oh, Dankula. Oh, I think, Dankula, isn't it really bad what happened to you as well? Oh god, it's so just slimy, isn't it? Like, obviously, Count Dankula is not saying this because he's trying to toady up to Vaush. He's saying, I disagree with your belief that you were legitimately banned. And then in response to that, he's going, yeah, man, it was so bad what the state power did to you, isn't it? Oh, oh, god, dude. It's gross. Slimy fucker.
Fair enough. But one thing that I do want to get to is the beliefs that white supremacists have. Now, you no doubt have a bunch of, you know things that white supremacists believe. So ask me, and I'll try my hardest. And usually, whenever I get the temptation, whenever someone asks me a question, I just want to give a meme answer and wind them up. But I'll actually try my hardest to not make jokes. And I'll actually give what I really believe.
Vaush, maybe it would be helpful to pick a particular topic.
Yeah, sure. So what I had is I prepared a little bit of material. Now that's kind of cringy, a little bit of a schoolboy vibe on my part, but I was interested in getting Count Dankula's thoughts on that. And yeah, I'd love that. And hey, listen, if it does devolve into a bunch of shit talking, I'm pretty good at that too. So I'm prepared for both potential axes of this conversation. So
I'm prepared for both potential axes of this conversation. Just speak normal, bro. We can get into the detail or we can shit talk. I'm fine with either, whatever. He's got to always have this element of like, false eloquence in what he says. It's so annoying, dude. Just speak normal, bro.
The specific reason, I didn't call you out on Twitter, I don't think. I think I said something about you on stream and somebody else tweeted at you. But the thing that I saw specifically off Twitter, it was, the tweet was you saying, since everyone is posting their political journey, and it had all these years where you were describing your political opinions at the time. And in 2003, you say communism sounds great because you were like, I guess, a tanky back then, and it goes down up to modern times. And in 2019, it says, the movement I used to be a part of were the source of all of our problems. I assume you're referring to communism there. That's fine. I don't care if you're an anti-communist. And then in 2020, it says, despite ... Now, yeah. So despite, and if there's any ambiguity to this, the comments underneath clear it up. Despite,
oh my god, dude, you were despite posting. You were despite posting. So I think that clearly proves the white supremacy in your veins. You were despite posting. Dude, it's funny. It's a funny thing. Like, yeah, there's probably some truth to his political mindset changing. But I think it's to point out that he's gone from being a fucking mind-raped communist to being someone who, like, is willing to challenge some of the preconceived progressive notions about society. Dude, oh my god. Dude, this is, like, bringing me great flashbacks to all of this. Do you remember when Despite Posting first started and the leftoids were completely incapable of engaging with it? On the whole, it just seemed like they were scrambling, trying to come up with a response to what ostensibly was pointing out a statistic, a criminal statistic, right? But they were like, oh no, it's racist. It's just racist what you're saying. So they had to try and like find a way to respond or deal with that. And then obviously eventually I think, it became, okay, well, we can address this by talking about socioeconomic factors. That's how we hopefully can see to address this. It's a bad look to just call crime statistics racist, even though they're being invoked in a way that is potentially alluding to some underlying, genetic factor in the fact that these people are committing crimes. We can't just say it's racist. We've got to explain what's going on there, But yeah, it was bad. I think the reality is like, you've got to accept that black people commit crimes in excess. And whilst it's true, in my mind, that it's, socioeconomic factors, I mean, what's the alternative? They are more predisposed to criminality. I obviously don't think that myself, okay? So that isn't the answer. But then you've got to accept that when you're presenting it as it's socioeconomic circumstances, that's not a particularly good optically sounding thing when you're dealing with like an actual incident of crime, right? Because it sounds like you're trying to act like, when you say socioeconomic circumstances, it comes across like you're saying they know not what they do, essentially. Which is funny because the genetic argument is the same from the other direction, but nonetheless, it gets framed as they know not what they do. When obviously when you're dealing with someone that's just been raped and murdered, it comes across as quite crass to say, well, it's not really their fault.
Chud, what are your thoughts on the future of US defense industry exports now no one can trust America?
Okay, that is a very, fine. I mean, I doubt that American, munitions companies are going to stop sending stuff, but I don't know. That's a very deep question. Probably fine is my answer. Thank you for the super chat. So I think you've got to have like a simultaneous explanation or discussion about why it is that people choose to do crime. But then you also have got to balance that with a very strong condemnation of the behavior. And because the problem is that often it's used as a way of, criticizing like the American prison industrial complex or something like that, right? Well, I think you can do both. You can say, well, I don't think it's because they're predisposed to crime. There's, explanations as to why people commit crime, and often it comes down to, but obviously we still have to take a harsh tack with them to protect society. We have to lock them away, something along those lines, right? But too often lefties would just respond to it by going, well, the reason they commit more crime is because of socioeconomic circumstances, and that's the explanation. And then that then comes across like you're acting like it's like, oh, well, what, yeah, sure, he's raped and murdered a bunch of women, but like, it's because he ate too many lead chips when he was younger and he comes from a poor background. But yeah. Anyway, very funny that the left scrambled to find a response to that sentiment when it first sort of happened.
I can say it if you want.
Oh, yeah, sure, go for it. Yeah.
Despite making up only 13% of the population, black people commit 52% of the crime.
Yo!
Yeah, I've heard that one before, but from some very unsavory people.
Yeah. It's just that...
Oh, dude, no! Is this before we'd figured out how to deal with this? And we're just going to do the, bad people have said a fact elsewhere. Dude, that looks terrible, dude. That's terrible! Oh, yeah. So there's a few unsavory characters that have been saying this statistic.
Whenever I say that, I'm just trying to annoy people.
Okay.
That's literally it.
Right. So the comment section beneath that tweet are literally just chock full of people making racist jokes and posting racist memes. When we say like the joke is racist, we're not saying the subject
That's terrible. Where? So I can block it immediately.
That joke is racism. We're saying the joke itself is racist. That just because it's a joke doesn't mean it's not racist. So you're just trying to like, I don't know, you say you're trying to troll people, but your audience...
Oh, dude, and he's calling it racist. No, this is before we got the NPC leftoid update of how to contend with this. He's calling it racist. No, Vaush! Vaush! It's socioeconomic circumstances, but people should still be punished accordingly, Vaush. That's what you need to say. Vaush, you need the update. You've not been updated with the new patch. We need to roll back Vaush to the pre-Horsecock Lollicon patch, but so he's got the right patch of the how to respond to the police statistic argument. That's what we need.
It seems to like it. They really like the 1350 thing. I don't know who's getting upset by this.
Well, those are the people that didn't really get the point, and the people that are getting upset by it as well, you, obviously. But that's pretty much all it is. Because, I mean, it's at the point now where Yeah, trolling has been around since the inception of the internet. Since the internet, I mean, even trolling's been around since fucking telephones were fucking invented.
Trolling isn't
People
just
doing
being
prank calls
racist, and then
stuff like
people in the responses also being racist. That's not trolling.
that.
I'm old enough to know what trolling used to be.
I never
Okay, sorry. Where, where can I read this definition of what trolling is that means it can't just be someone posting something racist and a bunch of people posting racist stuff in response? Dude, trolling can just be racism. Yes, it can be. Of course it can. What is this rule that it can't just be people being racist? Yes, of course it could be people being racist. If you're trying to troll some BLM org, it's likely going to be everyone just being racist. Yes.
I never said that trolling is just racist. That's just a part of it. Trolling, you know, of its most basis form is saying or doing something absolutely outrageous to annoy every single person in the fucking room, you know, just pissing everybody off. And what is the biggest nuke that you can drop in a room in the 2020th year of our Lord? A racist comment.
My dude, if you wanted to get your audience upset, you should have said trans women are women. Your audience is totally fine with this. Your audience loves it. No one here is trolled. No one here is upset.
No. Hold on, you try to say them.
Okay. It's not about trolling your followers. It's about upsetting onlookers.
I support
that
a
are
poor
watching.
little English boy with my Bezos bucks every month.
Thank you for the sub.
My audience doesn't like trans women.
Oh, well, okay, that could be a mischaracterization. Wait, that could be a mischaracterization on my part. Do you think your
No,
audience,
I forgot about
generally
this
speaking,
bit.
respects the right for
No.
trans people to exist? And
My audience really like trans women because they have fine tastes.
so do they like trans people as in they support their right to get transitioned, they don't call them like mentally ill, or are they saying they like trans
my
women because they
God,
like trap
dude.
porn or food porn on their Discord?
But footers aren't traps. Footers aren't trans. That's something completely different, but I don't want to get bogged down in the details of that. But the fact is, right, you will get some people in there that will say trans people are mentally ill, that's a man, blah, 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 and whatever, that's up to them. But there's still a large portion of my audience that are very fond of trans people and respect that trans people, you know, if you want to get fake boobies and present yourself as a woman, that's completely your right. That's completely your business. That's nobody else's business but yours.
Right, okay. I mean, I think that's an agreeable sentiment. I'm not sure to the extent... I didn't do any
Please.
research on the preponderance of trans supporters in your audience, so I'll just take you on that. I just don't think... I don't know how this is, like, trolling, I guess. This is the issue that I have with, like, it's just a joke. Jokes generally have a punchline. This is just you signaling racism and your audience signaling it back.
Bro, dude, it's making me think of this, dude. It's making me think of this tweet. Remember this? Classic. All-time classic. Checking Twitter to find out you've been called a transphobe whilst your transsexual girlfriend is in the bathroom cleaning up the mess you made in a booty hole. It's the peak of my aesthetic. Classic. No, this is not me before you start fucking the memes, okay? No, this is not me. I'm not Lord Scrumpington. That little back and forward reminded me of this, okay? That's all. Dude, this is what I mean, bro. Dankula is just being effortlessly amusing here, right? Making like a funny little illusion there. And Vaush is like, well, do you mean that they support it? Bro, just fucking relax, okay? Don't stop sweatlording so hard and just fucking have a laugh with it. God, his chat as well, man. Make him say trans rights. Ugh, my God, dude. Ugh.
Like that.
Yeah, you say an outrageous phrase. Like the whole point is the punchline of the joke isn't the phrase itself; it's everyone's reaction to it. That's what the punchline of the joke is. Everybody getting really mad. People find other people getting mad funny.
They're not mad though. They like it. I mean, I can read some of these tweets.
People got mad. I mean, a bunch of people fucking screenshotted it and tweeted it at you, going, "Look at me! He said that. He said this. He said that." That's
Yeah,
funny.
my
I'm
audience.
sorry.
But your audience likes it. Do you think your audience might be cool with racism, kind of?
Maybe some of them, but not all.
Okay. Point is that when you are trolling, right, often your audience is along for the ride, right? They like the fact that you're upsetting the libtards, okay? So your audience's reaction, you can talk about that and discern something from that if you want to, but that's separate to the argument that you're trying to troll. You're trying to intentionally upset people by making outrageous comments, right? And the other, like, there's always going to be people that actually, I mean, I obviously am acutely aware of this particular issue myself as someone that experiences this. But there's always going to be people that like are actually racist. Okay? There's always going to be people in the audience that actually believe it and say it and just like the fact that someone is saying it, even as a joke, even as a meme. But it doesn't change what your intent is in what you're trying to do there. you could have a bunch of people agreeing with you in the replies. But if you yourself are saying it and you're saying it's to wind people up, what does it matter if a bunch of racists are in the replies? Yeah, they might be racist, but it doesn't mean that you are racist, and that doesn't mean that you are a white supremacist. And this is supposed to be about whether Count Dankula is a white supremacist, not are people in your audience racist. You know, I would presume that if Count Dankula was asked, do you think some people in your audience are racist? He would probably say, yes, probably. I would say there's some people in my audience that I know are racist, but that doesn't speak to what my beliefs are. It's just that it's inevitable that if you tell edgy jokes about things, you will inevitably end up attracting people who unironically believe those views. Like you, Angler. Yeah, Angler Pigeon,
I
great
didn't say
example.
all, but like most of the people in the responses here, if they're not talking about your wife and cookies, which I guess was some separate thing, are affirming your, racist beliefs. But they don't seem to be doing it like as a joke. They're just being racist. Unless you think
how do you know that? How do you know that?
Well, that's the thing. We can't deductively, but you realize what we've retreated to right now, right? So you posted something racist, which the 1350 thing. I mean, that's obviously like racial dog whistling, and your audience responded with racism, and everyone here is being racist, and your whole community is like in on the racism. I don't know what the joke is.
It's not the whole community. The joke is everybody getting really, really, really mad about it. Like, say for example, one thing that I used to do, my old Auntie Kathy, God rest her soul, fucking, she is the most militant Christian that I have ever come across. And
Bro, he's talking about Count Dankula retreated. Like, what do you mean? He's not retreated anywhere. You are the one that is desperately trying to paint him as a racist because there's some people in the comments who are making jokes that could mean that they're racist. Like that's literally the best we've got here is, oh, there's some people here and some of them could be racist. Some of them probably are racist even. I would accept that. What does that matter to what Count Dankula is? How many people need to be in the comments in reply to you being racist in order for you to be racist? That doesn't really make sense to me. It doesn't change what you think or what you believe about something, how racist people in response to you are. I gotta be honest with you, the way X is at the moment, if that was the logic we were going off, even the fucking libtards would be racist. Because if you look at the responses, right, now, it's all people that are saying racist shit in response to everything on X.
My entire life, right? Like, because me and my wife were living together, like before we got married, we actually had to hide that from her because she's that militantly Christian.
Yes, if you have 1,488 people in your replies that are saying racist shit, that means that you are definitively, automatically a racist. It has to be that exact amount, no more, no less, and then you're a racist.
And I used to sit at the dinner table and say, you know what, I've been reading up a lot on Satan. I actually think Satan's a pretty cool guy. I think what God did to him was pretty out of line. And she used to get so fucking angry at me for saying shit like that. Now, I don't fucking believe in Satan. I don't believe in any of that airy-fairy fucking shit. But because I used to just do it just to wind her up, just because I thought that her little sense of self-righteousness, getting all mad and shit, this little short, furious Irish woman, I thought that was fucking hilarious.
Do you actually believe in Satan?
No, I don't believe in Satan. I don't actually believe in shit.
Do you think there might be a difference between you riling up a person who you know is going to be mad about it and you being racist to your audience of hundreds of thousands of people while your audience actually likes it and engages in unironic signaling of racism back?
The vast majority of them get that it's ironic.
This is what I mean by ruining like comedy. This isn't a joke. If you want to say it's just shock humor, it's not. Well, I'm not just saying it's not funny. It's literally not a joke. I mean,
what? If you want to say it's shock humor, that would make it a joke, no? I mean, it's not like a structured, punchline, set up punchline joke, but like, it is a joke, as in, it is not an honest reflection of what you believe. You're stating something for a purpose other than and stating your unironic beliefs. It's to wind people up. Vaush is pretending not to understand the target of who the trolling is. Yeah, of course. Bro, the flailing that he's doing here, dude, this is worse than I remember. He is like flailing around, desperately trying to find some purchase with which to make some points. And he's now at the point of saying, well, there's people making racist comments in replies to you, so that means you're racist, actually.
You can make the argument that like there's this funny like meta-ironic discourse going on in your community, and that's fine. But I mean, from an inductive perspective, the far more likely like outcome here is just that you're racist and your audience is racist, and we are nowhere near the end of evidence.
If a person seeking positive attention from the racists in audience, at what point are you responsible for cultivating and winding up racists? Well, you could be responsible for cultivating and winding up racists whilst not being racist yourself. Right? I mean, I don't... That is not the point of it. The point is not, are you being responsible with your audience? The point is, you know, are you a white supremacist? You could rile up 1,000 racists, but it doesn't mean that you then are a racist necessarily.
To that claim.
But when I said that, you can't deductively think that that is what was in my mind.
Well, I can't deductively reason anything about what anyone believes. But in your own words, we would have to look at a person's actions and we would have to infer from the things that they do what they actually believe.
Okay, then. So, are we going to look at tweets that I've done? Or
God, Liz Falling Up has presumably stumbled in here erroneously, one would think. That's just a lie or manipulation that isn't a joke. When you say something disgusting to make people go gross, that's not funny. Yeah, to you, it's not funny because you are the target of the trolling. You are the person that is being trolled. You're the person that's being wound up by the statement of something outrageous, you fucking retarded bitch, okay? You are the person that is getting targeted. So obviously you're not going to find it funny because you're the target of the trolling, bro.
are we going to look at actual real-world actions, stuff that I've done?
The trolled victim sits there and says, this isn't funny. Yeah, because you're the target. You're the person that is designed to be targeted by this trolling, by the joke the person is making.
Well, a tweet is an action. You.
Okay, I know, but that's pics and pixels on a screen. What about some real-world shit?
Wait. Racism isn't racism if it's done online?
When did I say that?
The joke is at your
well, you just
expense.
implied a distinction between pixels on a screen and real-world shit. I mean, you affect literally hundreds of thousands of people online. You should know that more than anyone because you're a public figure online, right?
Okay, then. Okay, and in regards to that, I was meaning like stuff actual in the real world, like actual tangible, like stuff, physical things, physical actions.
I don't think that's in any way related. Physical? Do you mean like a video of you like beating up a black guy while saying I hate black people? I don't think that's necessary to inductively reason out your beliefs. If I didn't know a person like in real life at all, I just knew their Twitter persona, I think they could still do things on that Twitter account to make me think they're a racist.
Well, see the sheer amount of people on the left that I've actually met in real life and have completely changed their mind about the way about what they think of me.
Oh, like
because
who?
they realise that I'm not actually like that. In fact, there was one boy. It was actually a group of trans people when I was at Comic-Con, and basically they says that they didn't like my beliefs and stuff like that, but we actually bonded over our hatred of Graham Linehan. So that was actually very nice. One of them did come up to me afterwards and shake my hand and said, "I hope you turn away from white supremacy," and I was just like,
Hey.
Oh, that's changed. Graham Linehan has since apologised to Count Dankula. And he's accepted it. I don't know what their fucking relationship is. But yeah, Count Dankula has basically said, stop going at Graham Linehan so hard now. Because he apologised to me. Basically, the reason he doesn't like Graham Linehan is... so basically, Graham Linehan attacked Count Dankula over the Nazi pug thing. He thought that the Nazi pug thing was, like, really bad, basically, and terrible, and he was rightly punished for it, or something like that.
Hey, look at that. We're a comrade to the end. Look at that. Hey, I can break bread with people I disagree with you now. I'm actually fairly amicable as far as online lefties go, but I gotta hold people to account for their beliefs.
I do that all the time. That's the thing is, there's one of the things that gets used.
No, he trolled it. Well, the trolling part is I'm going to make a cute nut pug do Nazi shit when I say outrageous statements. Okay? And then obviously the purpose of that is to troll people and get them upset about it. But unfortunately, one of the groups of people that Count Dankula trolled was the Scottish government, who saw fit to charge him with a crime for that, in which he ended up getting a fine of £800, right? And then the issue there is if Graham Linehan was outraged about what he did, then fair enough, right? It's, he's a victim of the trolling. But Graham Linehan gave justification. I'm pretty sure he said that it was acceptable that the Scottish state had engaged in this behaviour against Count Dankula. So you're essentially like signing off on state tyranny against an individual for engaging in what many would consider to be legitimate, fair speech in terms of satirical speech, And this is coming from a guy who's like a comedy writer who did an entire episode that, you know, some could argue could be considered a fucking hate crime, right? If we're going to call a Nazi pug thing those terms, it's like, well, yeah, what about the episode where you were like very mean to trans people? And many people don't like that episode and would consider that very hateful, you know? Linehan was all in on it until he started saying anti-trans stuff and realised just how fast the government and the media can collapse on you. Yeah.
On me all the time is, oh, you've only spoken at right-wing conservative free speech events. Why is that? And I'm just like, because the left don't have any.
Well,
I don't actually know how we got here. I was talking about politics, and then I don't know. I just wanted to watch this. I'm going to talk about the CPI. I mean, I'm probably not going to watch all of this. The main reason is the end. The end's the best part of this. Oh, I know what it was. People were asking me whether I'd debate X political person, and I said no, I wouldn't debate a political expert about this because I probably would fucking get raped, and I'd also have to do research that I don't want to fucking do into some stupid topic that I'm not that interested in to debate about, you know? I'll debate a far-right person on some stupid drama, okay? That is what I'm willing to debate on.
That's because the left doesn't need free speech events, because the left isn't getting banned off platforms for being Nazis. Usually the reason why the ultra free speech...
No, hold on. Don't turn around and say that that's the only reason that the right wing...
It's one of the bigger reasons, I'd say. It's a large, significant, perhaps.
It's one of, it's not all. There are people out there that are literally getting fucked over by speech laws who barely even fucking did it.
Well, I'm not talking about speech laws. I'm talking about online stuff. I'm an anarchist. I very rarely will I support the state invoking state power against a person for things they believe. Like, that'd be extreme shit for me to believe in something like that. But when it comes to online platforms, pretty much most of the people mad over it are either Nazis or lying. I know that, for example, TPUSA had a big event.
That's a fair framing. That's a very fair framing.
Oh, well, wait, if you disagree, who is suffering right now from deplatforming who you don't think meets that characterization?
Funnily enough, there's actually been a lot of people on the left who've been getting deplatformed because they're not left enough. Like, for example, Christina Summers is one of them.
Christina Summers is not on the left, and she is not deplatformed. What platform has she been taken off of?
Universities. Have you not seen people charging in and fucking drums and rushing around stage?
Oh, that's not... Wait, that's free speech. I thought you were like a libertarian. Yeah, that's totally...
Oh my god, dude. Bro, this is like a trip down memory lane. The idea that violently, attacking an event and engaging in something that is so disruptive that you can't even conduct the event is just an expression of speech. Dude, come on, bro. I've seen some of those videos, man. I mean, it's deranged. Like, you got people that are shouting, screaming, hollering, and presumably in a way that hasn't been isn't allowed. I mean, I don't know how it works exactly, the exact nuts and bolts of it, but if you hire out a hall to do something, that's your space with which to do what you want with, and you're allowed to excise people and not have people in there that are doing something that disrupts what you're trying to do there, one would have thought. I don't know how it works exactly, but yeah, I don't know, dude. I think, yeah. The SCW freakout videos. A hall, a room, a big room. I don't know how it worked and what exactly he's talking about here. But I just remember seeing videos where you've got them trying to do an event. There's plenty of these from the time of Ben Shapiro. Ben Shapiro's trying to do some fucking speech, and you get a bunch of students come in and start hollering and shouting and making it impossible to conduct the event that you've planned to do. Or you blockade doors and stuff like that and make it very difficult. Or, you suggest or say or imply that there's going to be some violence that's going to occur if the event goes ahead or something like that.
Totally fine. Counter protests are part of the process. Yeah, I thought you meant getting banned off YouTube and Twitter and stuff.
No, you've heard the whole phrase. Your right to swing your fist ends at my nose.
Well, I didn't. Did they hit her? I mean, I don't agree with that.
No, it's the fact that you are absolutely allowed to have your rights. You're not allowed to use your rights to infringe on another person's rights.
I don't think a person has a God-given right to present to the college campus without being counter-protested. That's free speech. You're attacking free speech. The sovereign right of citizens to challenge the platforms of people who present at universities.
Right. Free speech if you don't allow the other person to speak.
Yeah, well, you wouldn't allow them to counter-protest. I don't know, you're Scottish, I'm American, maybe rebellion's born in my blood or something.
Wait, they're allowed to counter-protest, but in a way that doesn't interfere with the person's ability to engage in the speech that they've planned to do at an event. Protest outside, have your placards, we don't like this person sucks. It's the interruptive nature of what you're engaging in that prevents that event from occurring in the first place. You can have your counter protest. You can respond. You can say your piece about it. You can do your own event where you then talk about what you think about that. You know, but you are engaging in like blockades. I mean, dude, I don't even know what event they're talking about, right? But I don't think that anyone would have a problem with a counter protest outside as long as there's free egress into the building and you're not disrupting the event that is occurring. I don't think anyone would have a problem with that. It is specifically when it's disruptive that it becomes an issue and becomes a question of whether you are adhering to like the principles of free speech or whether, yeah, you're trying to interfere with someone else's right to engage in their right to speech using certain tactics.
Something, but like I think counter protesting is super important.
No, counter protesting is absolutely fine. I encourage it. I've been at events where protesters have came and gave us shit, and I've defended the right to the protest. Well, I've defended the right to protest right up until they start throwing bricks at us and beating up women. That was a little bit of an issue. But
if Christina Hoff Sommers was physically attacked, I do denounce that. I'm not actually familiar with the specifics, but if people were just protesting, I'm fine with that. What I meant to say, and I want to clarify, was when I say like people are being deplatformed for being Nazis, I mean like on YouTube and Twitter. Like these people are normally very far right for them to get like their channels cut, you know?
Right. Okay. Then. So what about? I forget the name of the news publication. I've actually completely forgotten the name of it. It was posting information about the Chinese COVID virus, and it was censored. It was they had their Twitter.
Times.
It wasn't Epoch. It was something else.
I'm not familiar with the specifics of that story. If I looked at it, like I don't know, there was something.
Okay, I think I found what he's talking about. I think. Is this it? Yeah, dude, bro. Oh my god. It was just no platformed shit. Do you remember this? It was it's no dude, bro. It's so funny. The people tried to defend this shit. They were trying to no platform them. They were trying to prevent them from speaking. It wasn't just a case of protesting. They were trying to prevent them from speaking. And then it's like, well, they don't have an absolute right to go there and speak. It's like, well, do you have an absolute right to block egress to a place? Do you have an absolute right to engage in, you know, protest to the decibel level that it interferes with the event that's happening? Coalition of student groups demanding known fascist Christina Hoff Sommers be no platformed. To ask the Federalist Society to rescind their invitation for Christina Sommers to speak tomorrow, and we're protesting her presence in the event if she still shows. Hashtag no platform for fascists.
Okay, that's wonderful.
Right.
But how do I make money off depressed people?
Whenever I see Vaush, my mind automatically goes to worrying if all equines in his area are accounted for.
Thank you for the super chats. It's Portland. Of course it's Portland. Unilaterally invite a known fascist to our campus to encourage what we believe to be an act of aggression and violence towards members of our society. So you're painting the person as a fascist and you're suggesting that their speech is violence against certain parties. Christina Sommers has repeatedly made remarks in order to delegitimize the suffering felt by women around the world and to embolden male supremacist groups. Dude, it's easy to forget this, but yeah, it's true. They absolutely... Christina Hoff Sommers is like some fucking feminist person. She's like a fucking like neoconservative feminist, probably. Something like that. Something along those lines. Probably not even that. Probably more progressive than that. But like, she's not a fucking fascist, bro. Like, what are you on about, dude? Absolutely raped word. Sommers has called the epidemic of sexual assaults on campuses and the gender wage gaps myths. Refuses to recognise genderqueer and gender non-conforming persons and denies the existence of male supremacy. Because of the way systemic oppression manifests, we know that those who live at the intersection of oppression, cis and trans women of colour, genderqueer and gender non-conforming persons of colour, bear the brunt of this attempt to legitimise gendered violence. By giving a mainstream voice to such groups, Summers gives credibility to this reactionary rhetoric. Rescind their invitation. Yeah, dude, this is wild. How the fuck can you defend this? Especially as Vaush wants to present himself as a fucking debate bro. As expected. Exactly as expected, to be honest. Dude. Classic. Classic. Protesters trying to shut down. Yeah. Okay, so they got a sign. Is there any footage?
Check! Mic check! We choose to protest! Male supremacy! Not give it! A platform! Christina Summers has repeatedly delegitimized the suffering of women! Worldwide! But we believe our siblings and our comrades! Women are not liars with victim mentalities! Rape culture is not a myth! Microaggressions are real! The gender gauge gap is real! Trans people are real! Trans lives matter! Black lives matter!
Hey, dude.
No platform for fascists, no platform at all. And we will fight for justice until Christina's gone. Which side are you on, friends? Which side are you on?
Like, dude, I just...
Which side are you on?
All right, are you finished? Because I think the rest of the audience would like to hear what I have to say. So can you be quiet for a while? And then we can debate and reason together. How about that?
Yes, correct.
Okay. When pollsters ask, are you offended?
Like, even if you stood there, that would be in the spirit of a peaceful protest, I think. You know, standing there with your little signs, right? But like the shouting and the hollering to try and shut down and prevent the other person from speaking. I don't know, dude. It just, you know, I don't think that really falls under like a legitimate concept of what free speech is supposed to entail. Like peaceful,
Okay,
I don't think
that's
this entails peaceful
but
protest.
how do I make money off depressed people?
So when do they drink the Jonestown Colliad? Their chanting looks insane.
Thank you for the super chats.
And then you'll see me.
Can you just answer her question if you want engagement?
I want to be able to give my piece, and then
You
can-
gave some peace, and
You're
she wants to
embarrassing
respond to
our
it.
lawful.
You are embarrassing people.
You're embarrassing our lawful and our student body.
You're
embarrassing us.
She asked for engagement.
Wait, is this a law school? Dude. Oh my god, bro, there's no way. I didn't even think of that. Good training. If you don't know what the judge is saying, you just fucking start shouting, you just start protesting in court, no problem. Lovely stuff. It's just free speech. It's just free speech to start fucking singing about how much the judge is a fucking loser. A loser fascist.
Answer the student's question about what you just said.
It's fairly common to have the speech and then have the Q&A after, so this is not out of the ordinary.
How's it a balanced discussion? How's it a balanced debate if you're not answering her question?
How's it a debate?
Talk until you heard what she had to say.
We've heard it. It's not like she's a myth. We've heard her speak before.
You heard 5 minutes.
YouTube channel.
I'd answer them.
This is a forum in which this is not unusual.
Hey, appreciate you, man. I don't care for your opinion, though. Appreciate you. I don't care for their opinion.
All that does is make a more equal
You're
forum
saying,
for
listen to our
discussion.
opinion. I don't care for your opinion. So you're just going to make assumptions about.
Yeah, there was this narrative that really captured people's minds that, you know, this would like do something. Someone just saying their ideas about something. has some sort of like immediate effect or even some long-lasting effect. I mean, I don't know, man. It just seems like crazy. Anyway, yeah, I don't think I would classify this as like legitimate speech, this level of disruption. I think that you need to allow people to speak and then you can speak your mind. I mean, if there's questions as well, you get the chance to express your perspective too, and it becomes a dialogue.
Things I disagree with. I just meant like when we're talking about deplatforming, I meant like big tech companies.
How about we go back to the whole white supremacy thing?
Yeah, sure, yeah.
I'm going to say things that basically a white supremacist would believe, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so for example, ask me, do I feel the white race is superior to all other races? Ask me.
I mean, I think you're. Oh, sure. Do you think the white race is superior to all other races?
100%. I'm sorry, I said I wouldn't give me answers. I'm sorry. My real answer is no. I don't believe.
Okay,
that.
but I can't.
Ask me. Do I believe in an ethno-state?
Would you mind if after you answer that question, I follow it up with some follow-up questions on the ethno-state question?
Absolutely.
Okay, wonderful. Do you believe in an ethno-state?
No.
Okay, wonderful. All right, I have a couple of questions for you on that specific issue. So, in August 28th, 2018, you tweeted, "I am absolutely fine with the replacement of white people as long as it's legal." That's great. I mean, cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know what that?
Well, no,
What do you mean by that?
That's an argument.
That was me taking the piss out of something Theresa May said.
Well, do you agree with that sentiment?
Well, the replacement of white people as long as it's legal.
Yeah.
I don't know, like, would it be illegal? I mean, I suppose if they were loading them onto trains, you know, that'd probably be a bit illegal. But I mean, I don't feel that white people are being removed.
Yeah, okay. So you're okay with America and Scotland and all the other cool countries in the world having pretty much any ethnic composition?
I mean, if that's what happens, that's what happens.
Okay, but you're fine with that. Like, and you think that people who oppose that are probably in the wrong? Because people who oppose that would be ethno-staters by definition, as long as we're talking about legal immigration.
By the time it happens, I'll be long fucking dead. Why would I give a shit?
Okay, so you think it's fine. There's no reason white people should feel as though they need to like defend their countries.
But we'll defend our country. Well, it depends what you mean. I mean, if we're being attacked for a foreign nation, then we should defend our country.
Right, sure. I mean, like, when I say defend their countries, I'm like invoking like the language of like.
Yeah, he's not really, dude. You can tell that Dankula is like he's trying to kind of play the line here, isn't he? He doesn't want to like completely. Like he's not really giving a solid position on this. Bro, his chat is so fucking annoying as well.
Like white supremacists or white nationalists, like defend your countries against immigration. So you're totally cool. You don't have a problem at all with like any ethnic composition coming to America or Scotland, as long as they do so like legally and aren't, you know.
Yeah, that's fine.
Like, you don't see immigrants coming into the country and like having higher birth rates, for example. You don't see that as an assault on your country.
Like when he's saying if it happens, it happens. That doesn't really speak to what you think about that, right? Yeah, it does sound like Vaush is trying to convince him to be racist. But yeah, I think as he's saying that, it seems like he just genuinely doesn't seem to care that much about it. But then the thing is, this is the kind of game that's played. It's like, you know, well, what possible impact could there be of a society? Like the racial purity thing, right? I don't care about racial purity, but what I do care about is what impact is it going to have on my country if you have like unfettered immigration from countries that are culturally so, you know, vastly different to my own. You know, if you're getting a bunch of people that are coming in, like maybe over a period of time, right? Maybe things might be okay. I don't know, but it seems like when you're bringing in lots of people that are culturally vastly different to you, that could have a negative detriment on, you know, the cultural dynamic of a given country. You know? It's Ramadan. I don't pay attention to any of that shit. So yeah, it's like, I don't know. It's like I think that you can not meaningfully care about the idea of racial purity, but still have a problem with the changing culture of a given country if you have certain groups of people that are moving in from cultures that are vastly different to yours. And, you know, if there was integration that was happening, that would be no problem, I think. But some of these cultures, some of these people that are coming across are setting up like these ethnic enclaves. And you get whole areas. I mean, dude, the Birmingham stuff was stupid, okay? It was really dumb, the way the Americans spoke about it on that show. But it is true that there are certain ethnic enclaves that get set up in a given area. And it starts to change. The shops of an area start to change. The populace look very different and they act very differently. Like, for example, wearing burqas, wearing full burqas and stuff like that. Like there's a noticeable change, and you can see it if you go to some of these areas where there has been like a vast amount of immigration into that particular area, where it changes the feeling and the culture of the country that you're in. And I think it's okay to be concerned about that, but then that's about the culture changing rather than the purity of your race changing, you know? Because the thing is with the race thing is like, it would have to be that there's this blending of the race, but then that culture becomes dominant. Like, say, for example, if you had a bunch of people moved in from a Muslim country, and then as this, like, supposed race mixing occurs, and the browning of everyone occurs, Muslim culture becomes the predominant culture of the United Kingdom. That I would have a problem with. I don't think I would want my country to move towards a Muslimification of society. I think the secular, culturally Christian society we live in is worth holding on to and worth retaining, you know? But then I don't personally think that's happening as much as the righties would disagree. But then I am troubled by some things that I see. I'm like, bro, why is there like this little ethnic enclave here? You know, why the other day did I try and speak to a woman and ask if she was in a queue and her husband respond to me? Like, why are there these little things happening that, you know, is that just a one-off instance? Or is it a trend of a changing culture where we become more accepting of that stuff? And how do you even deal with that? How do you even contend with that happening? I don't even know how you would fix that, you know?
That's
with babies.
The white supremacists and white nationalists would say that would
babies are marching over the horizon. They're all heavily armed. They're coming for the white people.
Generally speaking, immigrants commit less crime than the native population. As they assimilate, the rates of crime actually go up because they're becoming more like us. At least that's the case here in America. It's different with refugees, of course, because they're fleeing from much worse circumstances. But yeah, so the funny...
To be fair, nobody has a problem with Chinatown in New York City. But that's because Chinatown, right, doesn't impose like Chinese cultural standards and norms at a very deep-rooted level on the American side of things, right? It's like they take the best aspects of Chinese culture and integrate it very well with American culture. Capitalism, freedom, liberalism, etc., right? You know, it's not like you walk around Chinatown and there's like a woman in a burqa and then you go up to speak to a Chinese woman and the husband goes, no, you can't speak to her. I speak for her, actually. So I just don't think that there's a inheritance of whatever negative aspects of Chinese culture that exist, like the communist stuff probably and the social credit score shit, etc. You know, it's like it's the integration and an acceptance of the foundational liberal conception of America that they accept and they just integrate it with aspects of Chinese culture, the food, the aesthetic, you know, stuff which doesn't interfere with that. Whereas if you're having someone come in from, say, Syria, right, rather than integrating and accepting our liberal conception, Chinatown and NYC has had to fight to exist its entire history. So what are you talking about? I think it's very clear what I'm saying. You're just obviously very easily upset by ideas that are outside of your fucking thought bubble, okay? I'm not speaking as to whether or not Chinatown has had to fight to exist. I'm saying that you can integrate Chinatown into America without interfering with the foundational liberal principles that America is founded on. But if you want to come here, it seems like there are things which are conflicting with liberal principles. Like, for example, here's an example for you, okay? In the UK, right, you can speak to a woman and interact and converse with a woman, a married woman, in a sort of, you know, a neutral way. You can ask a woman, oh, are you in the queue? And they can respond to you and say yes or no. But in this culture, That's not possible. That's not how it works. You cannot converse and have a conversation with a woman. Some might say that's a good thing, but it is for the man to then respond to you, right? I've experienced this firsthand. So the point is, what should happen there is there should be an integration and acceptance of our cultural standards and norms, but they want to impose their cultural standards and norms. And if one person does it, then what does it matter? That's a one-off thing that's happened. Who cares? But if this continues and escalates, then at what point am I going out trying to speak to a woman in a Muslim area, say, and I cannot have a conversation with a woman in a sort of like day-to-day standard, which isn't of any meaning, like, oh, are you in the queue? Without the man then having to respond, like, when does that then start to interfere with my life and my existence? That's the point that I'm making. And I'm saying that this is why I'm concerned with this idea that you can just endlessly bring people over like that without meaningfully integrating them into our cultural standards and norms. Because if someone wants to practice their religion in a way that doesn't affect me, then that's fine. They can go and do that, of course. But if the practicing of that religion then has some impact on me existing in my society and existing in my community, well, that's unreasonable. You know, that's I think a pretty simple point.
Funny thing is that underneath that tweet, a bunch of people call it bait. So you said it was, bait. Which is strange to me because the sentiment, I don't care, I'm perfectly fine with the replacement of white people as long as it's legal, is what you just said to me. You just said that. But back in this tweet, you said it was bait.
Yeah, but I knew it would annoy people.
Okay, usually...
Yeah, people on the far right, like white supremacists and stuff like that, because, I do actually wind them up too. It's not just the left-wingers. Sometimes the far right are pretty fun to fucking wind up as well, Vaush.
Well, do you think it's interesting that when you post something that isn't racist, everyone just responds with, oh, this is bait, lol, this is bait, but when you post something that's actually racist, everyone responds by being racist themselves? Does that seem like an interesting juxtaposition to you? Because I think that might belie a lot of things about you and your audience.
Actually, it's mostly because a lot of people on the far right who browse places like Poll and stuff like that, well, some people who are far right and some people who are far right understand irony. That's why, see, Poll used to be 100% absolute irony. Used to be complete fucking irony.
Used to be?
On years and years ago. Yeah,
anyway, we're going to start to skip through some of this soon. I really want to get to the end part. The end part is the best bit. Okay, dude, I can see the part I want to watch. Okay. Let's skip ahead to this bit. This is apparently the most replayed moment, which is quite interesting. So I do want to move on from this.
Certain things that I believe in.
I don't care what you say. Why do we keep going?
But that's the point of the debate.
No, the point. Wait, then if that was the point of the debate, when they come here in 5 minutes after I ask you, hey, do you believe in racism? You say no, and then we leave. Like, what's the point of that?
So, Vaush, obviously, if you ask the person directly, like, hey, are you a racist? They're obviously going to say no. But maybe you could prompt another topic that white nationalists fundamentally care about.
Maybe that's why Count Dankula doesn't think Tommy Robinson is a fascist because he asked. Yeah, okay. You're pro-immigration, right?
Pro-immigration, yeah.
Okay, sick. Yeah, me too.
Not uncontrolled immigration, not over the top, but immigration.
Dude, I don't even know if that's accurate. I don't even know if Tommy Robinson would be classified as a fascist. He's like I don't know, like an ethno-nationalist like guy, but I think dude, this is the problem, is people have got like they want to use basic terminology to describe people in ways that I think their views are a bit more complex than just putting them in a simple box like that. Well, he is anti-Muslim, and he's probably got some sort of racial stuff going on or racism going on, but I just don't think he's like a fascist necessarily. Like, yeah, exactly, bro. He fucking loves Sikhs. Tommy Robinson loves Sikhs. Sikhs are some of the most like racist people you can meet in the U. There are some hardline, like far right, anti-immigrant people that are like Sikhs. It's bizarre. You expect a guy being there in a turban to be like, oh yeah, come on in, whatever. No, they fucking hate it. They're like, no, keep him out, get rid of him.
Itself, fine.
Yeah, sure. Again, I'm more comfortable with American numbers here just because I'm fucking the burger muncher. But right now in America, we get about 1 million to 1.1 million people every year, immigrants. Does that sound like reasonable? Like, do you instinctively react negatively to that number, or does that sound like fine as long as we incorporate them appropriately?
No. So a lot.
Yeah, Tommy Robinson is generally speaking, he's got a bee in his bonnet about Muslims, but he is very much a, you know, if you are able to come and integrate, then that's fine with me. I mean, you know, like he's fine with like Sikhs integrating and then having a very pro-civic nationalist position.
Thank you.
It's a lot of wage slaves, man.
Thank you. What would be the parameters to which you would be against immigration, or not like against, not the concept, but the levels?
See, if it was getting to the point, well, this is the issue that I have. See, when it comes to unskilled minimum wage jobs, like this is the thing that this is the thing that I've experienced. In fact, see, when it comes to unskilled minimum wage jobs, the market is beyond fucking competitive, like beyond competitive. Oh, yeah. Whereas, and see if it then gets to the point where like companies are just going to, you know, drop down the benefits, drop down the wages, drop down the hours. They can offer any old dog shit terms for their jobs because there's so many unskilled workers. There's going to be someone in there that'll take it. Basically, I just feel that too much immigration overall actually increases poverty because companies have a huge wealthy people and they're going to find someone among them that's going to take their absolute dog shit terms for a job.
Could I convince you that this isn't the case and actually immigration bolsters the economic productivity of a country in every conceivable way?
Yeah, there's not mass immigration. I mean, what if America took in like fucking 10 million people?
Oh, that'd probably be too much. The current amount of immigration we have in the country.
Yeah, that's what I'm against. I don't want to be too much when it actually starts causing severe problems.
Oh, sure. I mean, okay, yeah.
If it's at a manageable level, then whatever, that's fine.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, that seems fine to me. I mean, obviously, I want open borders eventually, but I wouldn't want them today. Like, I don't know if our infrastructure could handle that.
No, it couldn't. If we just went full open borders, half the fucking world would come here.
Yeah, well, that's why we have to bolster all the developing nations. That way we need to make them... The world I dream of is a world where the United States can open its borders because everyone would rather go and live in Nicaragua. That, to me, that's a beautiful world. All right, we don't even need to worry about it.
I'll agree with that. I'll agree with that. I do. That means that, which is why I want China to get the fuck out of Africa.
So we can get the fuck in Africa?
No, I want China to get the fuck out of Africa. They're fucking raping that place.
Oh, hey, whoa. Oh, okay, all right, just making sure we're not doing horseshit.
Bro, I don't fucking... Why is this the most viewed part about China? China needs to get out of Africa. This is like the Belt and Road Initiative stuff, bro. This is like fucking whatever.
Yeah, based. Okay, fine with me. Fuck yeah.
No, China, it's far too much to go into, but China are being absolute fucking scumbags to Africa right now. Like, honestly, they're bleeding the place dry.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, no,
is that an anti-imperialist sentiment?
I don't want to conquer anybody. I'm not into colonialism or like, you know, but I know that British foreign policy for a few centuries was going over to a random place, sticking a flag in the ground and butchering the locals. Like, I'm not really down with that. No, I'm not down with getting into tanks and, you know, getting some Lebensraum or anything like that. No, that's not my jam.
All right, well, do you worry about the future at all? I mean, it's pretty much a fact that far right sentiment.
Oh, dude, no, he doesn't have a wart on his ear. This, bro, they're called keloids, and I believe they're a product of getting those, like, you know, those plastic big hoops that you can get installed into your ears, basically. So I think he had those for a little while, and then he took those out, and I think this was the result, is as it healed, he had this, like, weird lump develop on his ear, essentially. Flesh tunnels.
Are on the rise pretty much across the world right now. It seems to be a product of a lot of things: economic anxiety, stressors concerning global climate change, that kind of stuff. Does it worry you at all? Like, we're heading in a direction where like the real enemy for you isn't like the SJWs, and the real enemy for me isn't like the tankies or whatever, but we're going to be facing an existential threat from like fascism pretty soon?
No, the real enemy for me is, and this would be...
Yo, maybe he was onto something there. Anyone bored of covering this? We're moving on. Let's watch the end part of this. It's getting too political for me. This is the best part of it. This is the absolute best part of the conversation anyway at the end. Wait, where does he start to do his like wrap up? Let's go here.
Fucking shill the corporations, try to cut down on freedom of speech, tightening libel laws. I don't know. I don't know, because he's like based in anti-globalist or something, even though he's 100% globalist and he just had a useless fucking terror war with China. I don't know. I've got to go soon. Do we want to hit us like 2 more super chats?
Yeah, I'm just gonna, Look, if anybody wants to donate for Vaush, go ahead. I'm gonna ask 2 to Dank, and then we'll close it out here.
Yeah, I've talked more than Dank has during the fucking super chats here.
And then we'll have like I'll have a little closing thing. So, Dank, should free speech still have a reckless clause, such as what you were charged under, or no?
No, the reckless part of it, I don't believe. And there are parts of it. There are parts where I feel warrant more discussion, and the term for it is a hell of a mouthful. It's basically malicious misinformation with the intent to trick a vulnerable person into causing themselves bodily harm. So say, for example, if I said to Vosh, bleach is delicious. You should go drink some. If you go and drink bleach, you should have known better, right? That's on you. But if I say to like a 5-year-old child, bleach is delicious, go drink some, I've given that child malicious information to trick the child into seriously injuring or killing themselves. So that's an area. Like, and there's also other stuff as well.
What if you say to a male child that they're actually a girl? What about that? Could that be malicious misinformation to whatever it was?
It was like I don't see, whenever it comes to protected classes, I don't think there should be protected classes based on race, gender, sexual identity, or like anything like that. The only two people that I feel should be protected classes would be children and basically people who are mentally infirm, basically people that don't have all the faculties, because they are the ones that can be exploited because they don't have enough cognitive development to know that basically people are exploiting them. Although I say that, there's been some shady cases with that here. Like, say, for example, we had a court here in Britain literally ban a man from having sex because his IQ wasn't high enough. Like, seriously,
I'm not familiar with the specifics. I think that protected classes are a necessary component of a free society. Inevitably, if you don't have them, then the majority power holders are going to leverage their power politically, socially, economically to disenfranchise others, which is a limit on their positive freedom. I don't think that a society where like all the wealthy white business owners can prevent black people from shopping at their places is a very good society. Yeah, I guess the ideal, like long term, would be to build a society where you don't need to have protected classes. Of course, you don't want to have, obviously stuff like kids would be forever, but like you don't. At the end of the day, like it shouldn't be necessary because it's only there to prevent people from engaging in existing like social prejudices.
Yeah, I'll ask one more question for Dank, and then we'll just have a little closing thing. For Dank, wasn't Tony Blair the only good example of socialism because it was more conservative? LOL.
Fuck Tony Blair.
No socialist Tony Blair.
For dragging us into two bullshit fucking wars. Fuck Tony Blair.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with that. Okay, so guys, I had fun with this. I thought it was actually a bit more productive than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, me too. Fuck.
Bro, the retards in Vosh's chat type in trans rights for no reason. This is what it used to be like. This is what the lefties were like. Just trans rights. Donkey Kong says trans rights. Bro, it was a different time. We've come so far in 5 years. Based.
I don't know how Dank feels, but I have kind of an ulterior motive in these things, is that I'm very fed up with the state of discourse online.
Dude, the thing is as well, is like, obviously, I'm very concerned and disappointed with some of the way that some politics is going to the right. Obviously, Trump, I'm not a Trump guy. Very frustrating. I think that the thing for me with this is like saying trans rights is like trivial in comparison, really, when you think about it. But the issue is the cultural push that hardline, far left progressive types made, I think helped to cultivate an environment where the Democrats felt that they had to go in that direction, and that fucked them over massively. Kamala Harris, I think, suffered as a product of being such a fucking leftoid retard in 2020. I'm sorry, 2019. I think that people remembered that, and then she wasn't really able to meaningfully dispel the idea that she wasn't some fucking BLM, disband the police type fucking moron, like based on the rhetoric she was proposing at the time, So yeah, it just feels like this whole thing, although it's trivial in its details, yeah, the Progressive Caucus, like, or the DSA type socialist caucus in 2020, and in fact, I think the reason that it happened is because they saw how popular Bernie was in 2016 and then in 2020. I think they were worried about the Bernie crap type caucus that existed within the Democrat Party. And I think they were way too gracious and generous towards them without recognizing that, the broader base of electorate didn't fucking like or agree with those ideas. It was very much an internal party push that was made, but it didn't really seem to take into account that, well, these people are great and all, but we're trying to get our middle of the road people who are not interested in defunding the police. They want a strong police force, right? They just, like, do you see what I mean? It's like they were way too generous and gracious towards that group. Yeah. The increasing popularity of social media and amount of social pressure online progressives could induce. And yeah, exactly. It's like Bernie. The thing is Bernie Sanders wouldn't even necessarily have been on board with the extremity of where some of these progressives took things, you know. But it's like in appealing to that group, they kind of like went so far into it that they ended up putting out policies that were broadly unpopular, and Bernie himself probably wouldn't have fucking supported. So you ended up with like, you know, this kind of like woke simulacra of what the lefty progressive point was. It wasn't about all the race stuff necessarily. That was a part of it, but it became the primary focus rather than what actually mattered, which was, you know, the more populist lefty stuff.
I fucking hate blood sports. Fuck Andy Worski. Fuck all those people that pioneered that bullshit. Fuck people that engage in that bullshit. Like dialogue is really fucked right now, and really bad actors are taking advantage of that.
Oof.
So yeah, I'm glad that it turned out the way that it did.
Yeah.
Do you guys have any closing statements? Vaush, do you feel like he's a white supremacist? I'm gonna ask again.
Wait, do I feel like he's a white? No, I'm thinking. Wait, it's a really complicated. It's a really complicated.
I'm asking you what you feel personally at the end of this.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, and I'm thinking because there were like different tiers of engagement here. Do I think he's a white supremacist in the way that I made the accusation on stream? No. Do I think it's possible there are subliminal biases that are informing his decision making? Yes. Does that affect everyone? Yes. I never want to completely absolve a person of the potential for engaging in racial bias because I think that's something we all do to an extent. But for what it's worth, I think this was an infinitely more productive conversation than I originally expected to have, and you are also an infinitely more reasonable person than I expected you to be. So I appreciate you talking to me, and while I understand that my engagement online is often very contentious, that is, I guess, literally my job, I do, at least I think, to try to engage with the things that people actually believe in, and I think it makes me look bad when I just outright like disregard the capacity for like a positive conversation. I appreciate you speaking with me. I appreciate you taking the time. Also, my chat has been doing a bingo on this convo the entire time, and they would like you to say trans rights.
Everyone always asks me to say that, but I don't like the idea that rights should be segregated between particular groups. I feel that rights should be a universal thing. Do trans people deserve rights? Obviously, they absolutely do, because they are part of everyone else, and everyone deserves rights. I just don't like segregating rights with certain groups.
Can we get trans rights and cisgender rights? That way, we're rounding out the edges.
Universal rights. Yeah. Everybody gets them.
Hey.
All right, cis rights too, just so we're rounding.
Thank you. I'll let you have the last.
Oh no! Raped, utterly raped. Oof. That's rough. That's rough, man.
The statement, and then we'll end it.
I don't have much else to say after this experience. I was a lot more productive than I thought it would be. I'm hoping that a lot of people out there now understand my actual political persuasion instead of just, from screenshots of tweets that they sent. I found this conversation to be very productive. I hope I have changed a lot of minds. And I just want to finish with saying, we must secure the existence of...
No, stop. Don't make me take it down. No.
Censorship strikes yet again. Just another white man advocating for his rights getting taken down by the far left censors.
Hey, boss, you want to close it out with the Soviet anthem or something while we're rolling here?
Fuck the Soviet Union. I sing the fucking American Pledge of Allegiance, okay? No, at the end of the day, conversations are important, and I would like to believe that fundamentally most people online, even if we have different political persuasions, agree in the same basic things.
Bro, look at all the people in chat absolutely seething about that as well, man. Oh. Dude, just the most raped shit you've ever seen. Some guy debate pedo in for fucking 2 hours. Getting absolutely fucking owned because he can't actually meaningfully debate or fucking argue his position. Sweet. And then right at the end, the guy that you've just said is not what that thing is, does the thing that shows that he is what he is. It is so good, dude.
Most people want happiness. Most people want freedom. Not everyone, but most people. I think a lot of people are misguided in how to get there, but I consider it my job to try and provide at least some alternative ideas as to the ways we can best achieve those outcomes. Hopefully people listen to me. Often they don't, but it doesn't really matter because I had a good conversation. And that's what matters right now.
Awesome. Guys, please go hit subscribe on my channel. We're going to be doing more debates in the future, as well as interviews with experts on various topics, and also swing by the Discord server where we attempt to have productive conversations on the daily. So thank you all for watching. This has been great. Faraday out.
Oh, wait, how much did you get donor-wise?
I'm gonna have to go through it and add it all up.
Okay.
I will contact you after this because I want to know what you got on your stream.
Yeah, I know what I got.
Gonna produce, and we'll produce receipts for that.
Yeah,
so
sure.
We'll get that wrapped up before the end of the weekend.
Okay, cool. All right.
And everybody, that'll be put on the Twitter. Both receipts will be screenshotted and put on the Twitter.
I wouldn't sacrifice my reputation just so I can keep a little bit of money. Don't worry. All right. Love you guys. Have a good one. Okay.
For?
Bye-bye.
What's that about?
Okay.
All right, that's it. Thank you, guys. That was great.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh wait, you caught me with my finger on the close. I thought you were saying goodbye to me. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Nope.
Oh, so awkward, dude. So awkward.
All right.
Thank you. Are you streaming right now, Vaush?
I am currently streaming. Do you want me to mute so we can have a non-public finale to the conversation?
Well, I mean, I just wanted to hear what Dankula, his efforts that he talked about earlier with his white nationalist friends.
Oh, right. If you want to procure information on that later, honestly, if you want to like way later in the future, that's
Dude,
okay.
smoking in a debate is like such an OP optics move. Bro, they need to fucking nerf that shit. That's why Andrew Wilson, look it looks like you're effortless. You're literally just fucking smoking through it. When was the last time that someone who was smoking through a debate looks like they lost? I can't think of one.
Like I've got a lot of other political stuff to chew over right now. But
okay, well, yeah. Thanks for coming on, man.
Yeah, of course. Saturday, thank you very much for hosting. I really appreciate it. Count, sorry, I didn't realize that you didn't want me streaming this. I guess I misinterpreted your statement, but yeah, of course I'll provide.
That's my fault. I didn't clarify that. I had a misunderstanding.
No worries.
That's entirely my fault.
No, it's cool. It's good.
Be well.
Okay, later, dude.
Hey, man.
Oh, so you were supposed to stream at his end, little rat.
Oh God. All right. That was the most difficult fucking optical juggle I've ever.
Bro. You did not handle this conversation well. You came in to argue that he's a white supremacist, an argument you'd never win. You should have argued that he spreads white supremacy. You didn't hold him accountable for anything. You just conceded to him. Oof. There's some copers. We've got some 4 out of 5s, 5 out of 5s, 2 out of 5s.
Ever done in my life. Holy God.
Vaush dies the
Jesus
movie.
Christ. That was a really difficult, wait. Oh God, sorry. For a second I forgot that I'm still streaming. Jesus, I was about to start dropping in bombs. Okay, wait, hold on. Let's count the total amount of money that we raised right now, right? Okay, as of this point forward, all donations are going to me, because I think it's weird that I have to, like, fucking donate to a charity. Okay, listen, so the total is... let me do the math. Hold on. Just a second. That's, 270 times 0.7 because YouTube gets a cut equals that, plus 629.69. 629.69 equals, and then we add that.
Okay, this is boring. Anyway, there we go, guys. That was a fun little trip down memory lane. An unplanned trip down memory lane. That was good. What did the comments say, I wonder? These are all from years ago. I wonder if the newer comments are more critical. Dude! Sort by newest first. First comment. Vaush is a paedophile. Okay. Jesus. Dude. Bro, he's not... Bro. There are some comments that are more supportive, I guess. 2 idiots debating each other is comedy. God, Vaush is such a narcissistic, smug little prick. True, I concur. Right, anyway, there we go, guys. That's the trip down memory lane. Little cheeky Sunday trip down memory lane.